What is going on? It's your boy LOZA, or LOZA, as some of you may like to say. Today we're looking at this deck by YoBoiSteisy's. I'm just gonna butcher that. Apologies. Um, but he sent me in this great video.
Starting off with the monsters, we're running double copies of Dark Magician.
Nice.
One copy of Dark Magician Girl, and you're running the one copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon.
It's pretty good.
So these are mainly your bricks of the deck. You want to send these cards to the graveyard as soon as you can.
It's funny, because the games where you get these cards into the bin, like on turn one, the rest of your deck feels like a gold field. Like, it just feels like anything you draw from this point onwards will be great. And I really hope that, I know that Illusion of Chaos will help fix a lot of these decks' problems, which is the hands just being cards like these that are unusable, and cards like Red Eyes Fusion after you've already used one. A lot of people complain about that factor of Red Eyes Fusion. It's still a 3 of, in my opinion. And when we do have Illusion of Chaos, it's just another card you can just put back in the deck after using Illusion of Chaos. So I've started playing Mana again over Dark Magician Girl, and that is 100% a personal preference. Like, you can play DMG, you can play fucking Mahad, I don't care. All you need to do is play a second target, so you can draw 2 from Soul Servant. I don't think which one you play matters that much, to be honest. Down the line, we may shift to a more Dark Magician Girl orientated build just because of Dragoon maybe going to the ban list. If you just look at a lot of the OCG lists that are doing well right now, they are playing Bonds and Dark Burning Magic. One of them was just playing Bonds without it. It was really weird. But anyway, the point is, that's a great route to go down, which is summoning DMG and DM and just nuking the board. I think if we lose Dragoon, that's probably our next best play. I know it's some main deck bricks, but I think it's worth it. But anyway, let's keep going.
Starters of the deck, you're going to be running triple copies of Magician's Rod, and you're going to be running
Yeah.
copies of Magician's Soul.
Oh yeah, baby.
And these are the cards you mainly want.
We're going to skip because we know what the cards do, but you know what? He's probably given a top tier explanation.
Such as Magician's Rod, Magician's Souls, or even
Soul Servant, good.
Like Dark Magical Circle, and even Magician's
Nice,
Salvation.
good ratios.
Throughout the tournament, I had the Instant Fusion, where it would just synergizes with my deck very well, so you'll know when I get there. The Secret of Dark Magic is not exactly a card I would want to search on top of search or even stack on top of my deck with Soul Servant as well. I'd rather just hard open the card. And now to the best fusion spell over here, which
Yep.
is Red Eyes Fusion.
Damn
Red
right.
Eyes Fusion is those one card engines that you really want to have in your deck. Red Eyes Fusion already does so much for you, where it gets rid of your bricks like Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon. 2 bricks already out of your deck. You're basically going for Red Eyes
I need to
Dark
do it
Dragoon,
this way.
which is just a very powerful card.
Man,
It's an
spitting
omni
facts.
negate, it can't be targeted, it can't be destroyed.
So what I really like here is Instant Fusion, because I have played Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion packages in the past. I do think they're great. Like, they're free extenders, essentially. Nothing wrong with that. They're great. The reason I don't really play them anymore is just because I moved to the Striker stuff, which is kind of like one-card engines, and Dogmatica stuff as well, which takes up a lot of extra deck room. But if like some of that gets hit or something, Instant Fusion's always a good option. We got Thousand Eyes, Millennium Eyes, great options. Mud Dragon is another really cool Instant Fusion target. If you summon Mud Dragon off Instant Fusion, you call Dark. Your Anaconda then cannot be hand trapped except by Gamma. And your Rod and Souls can't be hand trapped if you use the Search of Rod or the Send to draw with Souls. You can't get Impermed or Valid. So that's really nice. I guess the other card to talk about here is Secrets of Dark Magic. Most people know I don't like this card, but it's absolutely fine to play at 1. It is a Dark Magician card, and so this is absolutely correct in ratios. 3 Red Eyes Fusion, amazing. 1 Magicalized, amazing. 1 Secret's cool, and 1 Instant. That's a really good ratios. Obviously, Instant can't be at more than that, but you get what I'm saying. Don't think you have to not play Secrets just because I hate it. Like, I acknowledge that I'm a little biased towards the card. I just really think we need a better Fusion card as well. Compare Secrets to that of Red Eyes Fusion or Magicalized. You can kind of see what I'm going for. But you got to take into account it's a quick play and it's searchable by our engine. So playing 1 is absolutely fine.
Another 1-card starter is the Sky Striker package.
Oh yeah, baby.
1 copy of Sky Striker Mobilize Engage and the 1 copy of the Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones.
It's funny because you do have games where you open both of these or you draw and you then eventually have both of these. And it kind of sucks. And Yeah, wow, you drew the one card that searches the other. But that just happens sometimes, and I think people need to accept that this engine is really fucking good. And the only way it lets you down is if you do draw both of them. Or if you've used your Hornet drones and done all that combo already, and the turns come back to you and you've drawn the engage, and then you're like, well, I don't have anything to search. Of course, you could fix that by playing Eagle Booster, which also can protect your Anaconda and ensure you get Dragoon. I've played Eagle Booster a little bit, and I'm not the biggest fan. I do think it's good. It's kind of like another call by, but only for Anaconda, which is fine. And yeah, I had games in the tournament at RC Cruise the other day where I did open both. And it was not that great, but you know what? You can send them off souls to draw, and at the very least, that's about it. You can use Mecha Hornet drones to stall. I remember setting it one time and using it to block an attack. And then Call by the Grave, amazing card. Red Eyes Fusion resolves. Yeah, love to see it.
Magician Rod's effect to just basically get this card back into your hand by tributing the Dark Magician, and just to revive it next turn as well, but without using Dark Magician as a link material or anything like that. And when it comes to those certain situations, even though you're not as reliant on the card, it still does come up where you are able to do the loop with Dark Magical Circle, Eternal Soul, and Magician's Rod, where Eternal Soul would revive the Dark Magician, and Dark Magical Circle would trigger where you would target a card and banish it, and Magician Rod's effect activates where you would tribute a spellcaster monster since you activated a spell or trap card during your opponent's turn. And most likely you're going to be having a Dragoon on board anyways to go with that full combos to ensure that that combo really does go through. This is one of the most powerful and most well-known techniques when it comes to Dark Magicians.
Like, it is good. It is powerful, but the amount of setup required for one targeting banish is like absolutely phenomenal. Like, you need Circle, DM, and Soul. You need a spell, a trap, and a vanilla monster that does nothing. It's the OG Dark Magician combo. But honestly, you could replicate it by playing 3 Trap Trick and 3 Ice Dragon's Prison, and then you've got 2 banishes. And it's probably way more consistent. I like to joke about that a bit, but hey, if you like your banishes, play your Ice Dragon Prisons, fellas. It's a good card. If these Torrentials are paired with a Solemn Strike, fucking crazy. I don't know if he's playing it. Let's find out.
Deck, you're gonna be running triple copies.
Hey, there it is. All right, we got the strike mixed with the torrential.
Judgment. Honestly,
oh, the judgment too.
To add to your deck these days.
What's crazy is judgment with village, because some people do have like one spellcaster in their deck, or they'll play effect veiler, and they'll normal it to try to do spells, and you can honestly just judgment that, and then they're like, guess I pass. I don't mind. I think he's citing village. I saw it in the intro. As he pointed out, you can use Judgment to stop spell trap removal cards like Harpy's Feather Duster and Cosmics and all that jazz. The theory has always been that no deck can play through like Dragoon and 2 Judgment, or like sometimes even 1 Judgment. So, while that's not necessarily true, if you have Dragoon up with Judgments, like, you're winning the game. I really like Judgment in Dark Magician. I played it in the YCS Remote Duel Europe, main decking Village and Judgment because I expected Sky Striker to be there, so that was kind of my tech. I versed 1 Striker, but hey, it did auto win. He normal summoned Droll and I just Judgmented it, and then he passed. So yeah, it was great. Judgment and Strike are solid choices in deck building. The reasons you may not see me play them right now is because I'm trying to make my build able to go first and second, and I do feel like while Solemn Strike Torrential is very good even playing second, as he pointed out, I still just don't like that it loses to Zeus. Basically, I'm versing Zeus a lot at my locals currently. Even online, when I test online, I'm versing it too. And Zeus just doesn't give a fuck about set cards. It's like, oh, you're setting cards? Yeah, end phase? Zeus. Like, so yeah, I'm trying to play around Zeus a bit more recently, which is maybe not appropriate to you and your locals, but it is for me, so yeah. Ooh. It's Floodgate time. I'm keen. I've been testing Imperial Order in the side deck, and I really like it. Obviously, you can send it off Magician Souls when you want to turn it off. That's why I think it's really good, just like Skill Drain. Remember that Magician Souls sends for cost, so you can do it under Skill Drain. If your opponent tries to say you can't, tell them they're fucking wrong. Literally, I've done it so many times in tournament. You can do it on EDO Pro. I know a lot of people say, oh, testing rulings on EDO Pro, it's not a good way to test. Well, guess what? Every time I've had a ruling dispute, I've done it on EDO Pro, and then checked with Judge's Lounge or just any other judge, and EDO Pro has replicated the exact precise answer / ruling. So I don't know where this hate for like simulators getting rulings wrong comes from. I literally have never had a problem with a ruling, unless it's like an abstract 8-card interaction, you know? At that point, fuck it. I don't give a fuck if the simulation gets it wrong. Like, we're not going to get it right either. But we're talking about just a simple interaction between like 1 to 2 to 3 cards. Simulator normally can handle that, so yeah, I don't get the hate. Judges just be fucking wildin'.
This card already plays around.
Yeah, well, the cool thing is, you can still use the graveyard effect. Yeah, he's probably about to say that. I shouldn't interrupt him.
For the next card, we're running the skill drain. This card,
yeah, baby!
Souls was just very powerful, and it performed so well.
You know what? I might have to do Imperial Order in the main. Oh!
Gozen match because you're running nothing but darks. And
I have not considered playing Gozen with Rivalry. That's kind of big brain. I want to know how that did. I wonder if you could even just play 1 and 1, like skill drain, Imperial Order, 1 Gozen, 1 Rivalry. It's probably not correct, but it would be interesting. Like, I'm trying to not play too many back row cards right now, but obviously these cards would be really nice. And I've always said Dragoon with Floodgates is like an auto win. I used to play, when I was playing this really crazy deck at locals and topping a little bit more often than I am now, it was a mixture of Invoked, Numeron, and Dragoon. Sounds like a mess, and it absolutely was. But it did well. It was 1-card engines .deck, so it did really well. And what I learned from playing that deck is establishing Dragoon or Zexal followed up with Floodgates essentially wins you a game, like, more or less. So what I mean by that is I would play Dragoon, and then I'd flip Summon Limit, and I'd also play There Can Only Be One. And not many decks can play through those kind of Floodgates plus 1 negate. Normally that's enough to win you the game. So that's why I really like Floodgates in Dark Magician. Playing these cards that kind of cripple the opponent into a simpler game state. Floodgates in Dark Magician and Dragoon. Very nice. Alright, we're looking at the extra deck and 2 Dragoon. Good start.
And it did only come up the one time
Yeah.
against the Tri-Brigade matchup. My opponent made the Appaloosa for 3 negates, and with the Dark Magicians already being more powerful than the 3 negates anyways, I was able to bait out the Tri-Brigade Revolt as well to banish this card because the other cards I already had in my hand was powerful enough to just set me up to stall out my opponent and just slowly go for game.
I wonder how that interaction went. So you summoned the Dark Magicians, and obviously you were going to threaten the Appaloosa in the battle phase. So your opponent revolted to get rid of the Dark Magicians. Naturally, you'd want to chain the Dark Magicians to draw, because you just used fucking 3 cards to get to this piece of shit. So naturally, you'd want to get the draw there, right? With the effect. But also, your opponent would just use Appaloosa and negate it. So I'm like, I'm not quite sure how this dealt with the scenario. I can see that it forced Revolt, but you know what else forces Revolt? Cosmic Cyclone. I prefer to just play cards that force Revolt. I can't really see the justifying point in playing this still. This card is decent, don't get me wrong. Dark Magicians is decent, but when you compare it to a card like Dragoon, it's literally sitting next to it, there is no comparison. I really like the Dark Magicians, but it should have been a better card. It should identify as Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that today. What we're going to talk about is how this card doesn't really have a scenario it's good in. And I guess that's its problem. Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, you obviously know its place. It's like, I protect the back row. I protect the circle, the Eternal Soul. I set up the loop. You can summon me off Eternal Soul. His place is very clear in the deck. This card just seems like they want you to play Dark Magician Girl and go Unga Bunga, draw cards randomly and set them. Which would be fine, but it takes too many cards to get to it for what it does. And we just need a way to turbo it out.
This?
Oh! He's playing Mud Dragon! He's playing Mud Dragon! Does he know the tech?
Card basically guarantees that your cards such as Magician's Rod will go through along with Virtue Anaconda, because you can change this card's attribute to dark and your opponent cannot target this card or
that's right,
the same attribute as this card with card effects. So
what's so nuts about that is you activate the effect Calling Dark, they cannot imperm you, they cannot veiler you. because it's currently water, and its first effect says your opponent cannot target this card or monsters on the field with the same attribute as this card. So it's protecting itself from the start, and then you can change its attribute and protect everything else. I really love Mud Dragon. Obviously, it's good with Super Poly, but it's also good with Instant Fusion, and not enough people talk about that. So thank you for talking about that. It's really fucking cool. I'm liking what I see. I see the Artemis. Yeah, baby!
Like having like the one Magician's Rod and a whole bunch of back row. It is technically a one-card Dragoon, but it's not a Dragoon that you set up within the same turn.
Yeah.
On to the next turn anyways.
It's a one-card
Like,
late
Magician's
Dragoon.
Rod,
Oh yeah.
your,
Goddamn
Zones,
strikers.
This card can go into time because 100 life points for every Sky Striker spell you activate. And for the last card,
Crazy how many hand traps these cards bait. Well, mainly Kagari. The amount of times on the weekend where I summoned Kagari to add back drones and people would just hit you with a hand trap and you're like, cool. And you can just play out the rest of your hand. Like, it's... The Sky Striker package is just so good. It either baits a response or gets you Dragoon. Like, it's as simple as that. Or wins in time.
Sky Striker package is the one copy of Link Spider.
I was playing Link Spider, and now Matt has convinced me to play Link Karibo, and I do think it's kind of awesome. But like Link Spider's still fine.
And for the last Link, one of the deck you're running the Duck. It has the
it's dark. I say you play two, but one is okay.
And just
I feel like if you're playing Magical Eyes, you should definitely play two. Plus, sometimes your first one gets negated, and if you can get to the second, it's even better. But yeah, I like two. I know it's expensive, but I like two. See, IP I think is only good when you open the Striker stuff, because then you can finish on IP Anaconda Dragoon. And then IP is good, but apart from that, I'd rather just play that space like as a second Anaconda.
Well, when it comes to Boros Sword,
yeah, this makes sense. You can play this for now, but yeah, Bottle Sword's obviously just... Access Code is obviously just crazy. I'm hoping to pick mine up in the next set as well, so I understand not playing Access Code. That is all good. Oh, the Bomber.
Skrena is the Topologic Bomber card set on your field already.
Yeah, boy! It's another Torrential.
And your Eternal Soul.
It's really hot, hey.
Dark Magician to a Link Arrow that Topologic Bomber points to.
Okay.
And this.
Yeah. I see why you're playing IP now, because if you open the Striker engine, you finish on Anaconda IP Dragoon, and you can IP in on your opponent's turn, obviously, and make Topologic Bomber, and then your Eternal Soul's also a board nuke. So you can do that instead of Unicorn, then you don't have to discard two cards, one for Dragoon, one for Unicorn. I like it.
Chainlink 1, Topologic Bomber, and Chainlink 2, Magician's Rod, because you activated the Eternal Soul to revive the Dark Magician.
You can do this also. It's such value. Summon Dark Magician on a new chain. Bomber has to go first because it is mandatory, and then Rod can go second because it's trigger, tributing the Dark Magician. You still nuke the board, you still get the Rod back to hand. It is just value. I've seen the side deck Spice. Let's go.
We ran triple copies of Inspector Border. This card
how did it do
so well against the Drytron matchup.
Oh.
Where decks like Drytron and Virtual World activate their monster effects in hand. And for the other card, for going first, would be.
Yo, he's playing another really good Floodgate. I need to try these Floodgates. I've played Summon Limit before, but I have Borders and I haven't played them in Dark Magician yet. I've been playing them in Grand Marju Stun, but not Dark Magician. So I might try him in the side at some point. I have mixed feelings about this in Dark Magician, mainly just because, like, I do still want to do Rod and Soul stuff, but I guess like this with Red Eyes Fusion is just crazy. So who the fuck cares? And Summon Limit is just good.
Inspector Border just...
The only thing that's bad about Summon Limit is you have to see it playing first. What's cool is it's got the Dark Magic Circle on it, so that's kind of a Dark Magician card if you want to call it that. But yeah, what sucks is seeing this past turn 1 is really bad, but seeing other Floodgates like there can only be one goes in Rivalry. Past turn 1 is still good because you flip them, your opponent has to send all their field or negate it, and if you have strike, then well, it's GG. Yeah, boy. Village is good. Village is good.
Secret Village. If you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate any spell cards whatsoever.
Only thing I hate about Village is sometimes you either brick on it or you open it with no spellcasters. Like, it sounds dumb, but that does come up, and that's why in my last build, I just played one Village and the one Imperial Order in the side, and I went, these are kind of the same card, like, I'll just play these two. And you can play Terraforming. I didn't in my last one just because my last side deck for space. Terraforming's fine. People People will say it can get drolled, it can get ashed. Do not listen to them. It is like telling Drytron players to not like play around droll. Dark Magician decks search. Soul Servant will draw. Rod will search. When we get Preparation of Rites, Prep will search. Illusion of Chaos will search. Circle can add sometimes. It won't always, but it can add. So asking Dark Magician to play around droll is basically impossible. Like, do you want to miss all those card effects? If so, cool, play around droll, bro. If they have droll, they have droll. That's what I'm saying. In this deck, if they have droll, you're gonna fucking know. So yeah, feel free to play terraforming. I just see that criticism a lot on some of my stuff and others who are playing the terraforming with village. People are like, oh, don't play, it can get drolled. I'm like, bro, like, you can't gatekeep this man on terraforming a deck thinning card that like is good when we play Dark Magician. Yeah, in my head, it's the same as like telling a Drytron player just don't get drolled. Like,
For the going
you
second
can't.
cards, I put in triple copies of Dark Ruler No More.
Hey,
and
this
I
is
put
nice.
in one copy of Raigeki and double copies of Dark Hole to add
Yo, the only problem with this, I will say, that I've experienced from going to tournaments recently, and like what I've noticed in a lot of modern YCSs and stuff, like when I've been talking to my locals gang, we've agreed a lot of people are siding or maining one Imperial Order and two anti-spell fragrance. Like a lot of people, like Tri Brigade especially, because they don't care about spells at all. Other decks too, but mainly Tri Brigade. And so what's scary about that is Lightning Storm becomes super irrelevant. Not to mention a lot of people just summon in defense mode if they can, just to play around Lightning Storm. So Lightning Storm, while it's this amazing card, it's like $100 and people fucking play around it. Dark Ruler No More's good, like it's great. It's in a similar boat though where it's a fucking spell. And Raigeki and Dark Hole are in that same boat where they're also spells. I don't think this is bad by any means. Don't get me wrong. This shit is good. It's board wipe, it's board clear, it's beautiful. Dark Ruler with ref is like crazy. You can clear the board. Obviously you can't do damage, but you can clear the board and get control, which is Dark Magician's thing. What I am saying though is evenly matched, I want to say, is better currently. Because a lot of the bigger players are maining all this spell negation. Siding or maining the spell negation. And that is scary. Dark Magician with no spells, not good. The only way we play if Floodgate, like Imperial Order or Anti-Spell Fragrance is flipped, the only way we're playing then is if we get to Anaconda. And even then, they're probably going to have a negate for that, because, you know, that's kind of how it'll be. So, these cards are fine. I would stress playing evenly right now. I don't like throwing away my battle phase, but like Dark Ruler throws away your damage, so it's kind of the same trade-off if you think about it, but no one really has anything to stop evenly right now. Maybe a trap deck will have Judgment and whatnot. It just feels a little safer if you get what I mean. But once again, side decks are all personal preference and what beats your locals or what's going to be good at the tournament you're going to. So yeah, it's just, I think evenly personally is better. Alright, we've reached the end of the deck profile, so I just like to say kudos to you. Your boy Steensy. Your deck is really fucking good, and I really like it. So that's probably the first profile on the channel where I've genuinely liked the deck. So fuck yeah, good shit. Y'all have a good night. Later.
How this deck actually performed, I was actually really happy with the card choices that I made. With this actual deck being able to compete with the meta with decks like Drytron and Tri Brigade, like, I think I made the right card choices when it came to this deck in the first place. And without further ado, let's just get straight into the deck profile.